All right, Oval fans, last night was the season 4 finale entitled The Last Strike. Now, unfortunately, I'm at the point where I'm just going to assume it is the Wi-Fi. Remember, what was it? Monday, I did a test live stream in the middle of the afternoon, and the live stream was working just fine. But I don't know why, but late at night, the internet just starts acting weird. It will just disconnect, reconnect out of nowhere, and live streams won't work on my phone or on my computer. And for people asking, hey, why don't you do Instagram Live? I'm pretty sure it will be the same issue. So, unless I do like a random afternoon live stream or something, which is probably not going to happen since my sleeping pattern has been way off since daylight saving started, I don't think I could do lives, which really sucks. But to be completely honest, and the episode wasn't awful. No, it was still good, but I don't think it measured up to last week's episode. Last week should have been the finale. This week was kind of it certainly wasn't a 10 out of 10. And it did have its moments, but at the same time I couldn't help myself from the final scene where the fight was very well choreographed. The camera work for it was really good. It just shows you how far the cinematography and fight choreography has, gone with this show compared to the very first scene of the series where you have Hunter and Victoria fighting in the hotel room. Wait, not the hotel room. I think at that point they were at the White House. No, they weren't. They were because they hadn't officially finished moving in yet, because all that was happening while they were at the inaugurational ball. But in any case, I go back to that scene with Simone and Victoria, and I'm like, okay, this kind of went on a bit too long with Simone talking with Victoria when we could have gotten follow-up on Donald, like if he was alive or dead. Or, for example, despite laughing my ass off when Hunter made Alonzo put on that wig, I felt we spent too much time in the Oval. On the Oval, ironically enough, as opposed to, okay, well, Lily went off somewhere. Are we going to follow up and, find out where she went to? And I think one of the worst things was, BET did that. They did that thing they do where they release promotional photos, but then particular scenes or those moments from the photos don't happen in the actual episode. I felt like this episode wasted time in spots that could have been put elsewhere. So, all that being said, I will give the episode a solid 7 out of 10, but it didn't measure up to last week. So before going into the actual breakdown, take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content, and follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. So picking up where we left off, Richard actually struggled but did manage to get Nancy down. It looked like she tried to hang herself with a belt. He calls 911, ambulance is on the way, and the dispatch agent is kind of talking to him how, CPR and to use chest compressions. And I think they also mention how the song Staying Alive, like if you do it to the rhythm of that song, it will actually help. I'm no nurse or, paramedic, so is that actually a thing? But in any case, he's freaking out, but he is doing the best he can. But first, the police arrive on the scene, and then a couple of paramedics do as well, and they take over. And, they tell Richard to leave and let them do their work. But, Richard doesn't want to leave, Nancy's side. So, we actually, Richard really went through it in this episode. That's the only way to put it. He went through it in this freaking episode. So eventually, I'm assuming that they do get Nancy to regain a pulse because she wasn't breathing. She didn't have a pulse, but she is taken out on a stretcher. And Miss Jody, is like, Richard, what's going on? Is that Nancy? What's going on? And then, like, one of the cops was like, man, please, you need to mind your business. Because Richard tried to tell her multiple times, look, Miss Jody, I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you everything as soon as I can, because he's trying to go with Nancy, but the police are like, no, we need to talk to you first, sir. And then the police actually pulls out a couple of bags and asks, hey, do you recognize these items? They belong to my son. Well, we actually found a body tonight, and we need you to come down to the station to identify him. It's like, are you telling me my son's dead? Well, look, I know this is hard, sir, but we need you to come down to the station to determine if it is him. So Richard and then Miss Jody, they both breaking down. Like, the cop, is trying to calm down Richard. And then I think the other cop or paramedic, I know he was wearing the blue shirt. He had to help Miss Jody because this woman, the only thing missing was Jody outside sweeping with a broom on the grass. But this was, man, Richard, poor Richard. That's all I got to say. Poor Richard. Okay. So we go over to Kareem's apartment, and the cops are talking to Sharon and Dale in the kitchen. And this is the part of the episode that had me going, this makes no sense based off of last week. So, at this point, like, paramedics and more cops show up to the scene, and they're looking at Kareem. And Sharon's like, is Kareem going to be okay? And I'm thinking, wait a minute. What do you mean is he going to be okay? Last week, that one cop checked, and he wasn't breathing, and I do believe he didn't say he said he didn't have a pulse. And then he made a call in for homicide. So why all of a sudden is Sharon like, is he going to be okay? What's going on? Are they working on him? And I'm like, I thought he was dead. You could argue, well, Jeremy, think of it this way. Maybe that particular cop didn't find a pulse, but it wasn't until the paramedics came that they were able to regain a pulse, just like with Nancy. That's true, but I don't know. This really felt out of whack. So she explains to the cops about the situation about, he said that he wouldn't let me leave and that he killed my, or he didn't kill my boyfriend, Barry, and there was a body in his room. And then the cops go to look around the apartment to examine if there is a body. And Dale's like, don't tell them anything. How do we know this isn't a setup by the president or the Rakadushi? Because Kareem wouldn't do that kind of thing. And to an extent, he was right. But keep in mind, Dale didn't see the Kareem that was holding Sharon hostage. That's the Kareem out of desperation who may accidentally go too far and kill somebody. But, yeah, he tells her not to say anything. So the cops come out from the back and say there is no body. And I think she did say that, he said that he moved them or something, but they both get taken down to the station. Simple as that. And Sharon, wait, we gotta go down. Are we going down to the station, or are you arresting us? Sharon, what did you think would happen? And then they get taken down to the station. And I'm kind of skipping ahead in the review because there are large gaps in between particular scenes. So Dale and Sharon are just sitting there, and they're just trying to figure this entire situation out. Sharon gets a phone call list from Hunter, who wants to see her, but, she doesn't want to meet with him for obvious reasons. But he does say, what, are you going to do something right now? What, is it because one of your boyfriends is dead and the other one's probably going to jail for that particular setup? And then Sharon just freaks out, and he's like, well, you know what, Sharon, I can get you to change your mind to make you want to come see me. And then the phone, she hangs up, and she's looking just really, really depressed. And also, Hunter is in the Oval dancing, snorting coke and drinking, but I'll finish up that scene, a little later. But we have Simone confronting Eli once again. And See what I mean? This episode had a weird method of like rinsing and repeat where it would repeat story beats from the last episode, but they would do it in such a way where it's like, but we've already seen this particular scene play out. Why are we going through it again? And it's not at the fault of the actors here. When I'm talking about the Simone and Eli scene, it's not the fault of the actors. No, they're good actors. It's just that their characters, I just don't understand why Simone would believe Eli. He's a politician, just like Andy being a lawyer on Sisters, but is clearly a bad liar in a lot of situations. You would think Simone, a woman, a black woman at that, would be able to tell how unconvincing Eli is when he's trying to defend himself from her accusations of cheating, talking with a woman on the phone. He does not sound convincing at all. And yet she doesn't really... Yes, she has suspicions, but it isn't the kind of suspicions where she like gives him the complete cold shoulder. It's just that Simone believes Eli is the victim and Victoria's the one who's sending flying monkeys after her man. Like she's the wicked witch. So, Simone basically gets to the point where she says, you know what? We have 18 rooms in this house. You pick another one to sleep in tonight, which I feel like is a step up from Fatima, who basically told Zach to sleep on the couch. But then again, that's probably because they have more than one bedroom in the vice president's house, but whatever. All right. Now, of course, we know at the end of the episode, Simone shows up to the White House, but that's that's at the very end of the episode. Okay. So in the, bedroom of the first lady and president, Victoria leaves a voicemail from Donald. Donald is not in this episode. He is only mentioned in passing here when Victoria leaves a voicemail for him. And I'm thinking to myself, well, Victoria, I don't think you're going to get a return call on that voicemail. All right. Now, Hunter comes out of the bathroom. He had just showered, put on a whole all black outfit. He's ready to go out. And Victoria makes it clear he's not leaving this White House. She's like, look, I'm going to the Oval to work. And it's like, bro, it's been 4 seasons. Your ass ain't do nothing. I think you've been to one meeting. And that's when Ellie was still alive. And that was it. And she threatens to, call her dad to make sure he never leaves the Oval again. Leaves the White House again. And he just storms out of the room. Victoria's kind of lost her edge, if you ask me, because the Victoria before would just not put up with this shit. But maybe because there's so much going on right now, she just doesn't have time to babysit Hunter. So she, I think calls down to, the Secret Service office and gets Alonzo on the phone and basically threatens to cut off his wiener if Hunter leaves the White House. So Alonzo calls Kyle. It turns out he's called Kyle a bunch of times, leaving voicemails. And Kyle has an answer. Kyle, you need to tell me what to do. But we know he is currently on Operation Smoke 'em Out. So he then calls Alan, and Alan lets him know that the pharmacy's closed, and he's not sure what he's going to do. But then Alonzo gets a bit of an attitude. It's like, and I'm thinking it's like secondhand anger from the Victoria threats. Not threats, but promises. But basically, about the whole, well, you the one who took him back. It's like, I know you ain't giving me attitude after I saved your life. Yeah, thanks. Damn, Alonzo. Sheesh. All right, so Alan says he'll call his contact Antonio in regards to the drug. Wait a minute. I don't know. Okay. I know Norman is the name of Kareem's cousin. But then in another episode, Antonio was the one who was on the phone. I guess they're 2 separate people. I don't know. But Alonzo then gets a phone call from Hunter to tell him to come to the Oval as soon as possible. Then he switches over to leave Kyle another voicemail. And then he gets another call from Hunter to bring his ass down there right away. And then Antonio gets a call from Alan to basically stay your butt at the pharmacy. You got all the drugs? Yeah, it's all here. No, it's not. And then Antonio's like, you stay put. I'll come down there to get him. So from there, Alan is just in his car. Then this guy comes up, like a, guy, a homeless dude's like, hey, man, can I wash your windows? He's like, no, man. I'm good. And then he just keeps pressing him to do it. But then he starts, and then Alan gets out of his car, well, the rental car, and as a result, this guy pulls out a gun, and when he thinks he's being robbed, it turns out that he's an undercover cop. They've been watching this pharmacy for a while, and Alan, it don't look good for him. He's in a car that has all these drugs laced with, I forgot the name of the thing, but basically laced drugs that have killed so many customers. And as a result, Alan can be charged with murder and he gets arrested. So things are just not looking good at all. Now, Hunter is in the Oval. Like I mentioned before, he's drinking, he's, snorting all that coke, listening to music, he's dancing. Honestly, the only thing that would have made this scene better is if Hunter was listening to, I got moves, 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 I got moves. Woo, I got moves, moves, moves. You remember that song? Season 2 opener for Haves and Have-Nots, when Hannah was throwing the welcome back home Benny, because he had just come out of the coma and he was back at home, and she was dancing to that. Also, If Loving You Is Wrong, when Randall was blasting music in the middle of the night and Lucian had to come out there and tell him to cut the shit off. That would have been great. Let me just say this much. I'd say in this one episode, we've gotten more character and personality from Hunter than we have in the entirety of this series. Yeah. So, Alonzo comes in, and he's saying that he's getting a car arranged right now. Because remember, the original rental car, Alan has it, not Alonzo. Because Alan went to take those drugs back. So, another rental car is being worked out right now. And this fool Hunter pulls out this James Brown wig and tells Alonzo to put it on as a disguise. And the look on Alonzo's face when he put that wig on and Hunter is just losing his mind laughing. I'm thinking to myself, what is Alonzo was just rethinking so many life decisions. I mean, like, what's worse, going out wearing this wig and losing my wiener, or taking this wig off and dealing with this guy who president even isn't even the right word. So eventually, Alonzo does leave the Oval to get the car, but I think my favorite line was like when Hunter was like, well, you need to go. Yeah, I'm getting the car, sir. No, you don't need to leave to go get the car. You need to leave to go fix your hair. And also take it off, because there's no way you can walk out of here without Secret Service shooting you down with that thing on. Go on, Alonzo. Get that car so we can have some fun. Then he goes back to dancing. Now, after he had called Sharon at the police station, he snorts some more, takes another drink, and then this fool passes out. Hey, Alonzo, I think you need to get Victoria. Then he's out. Is he dead? All right. Oh, yeah, and then also when it comes to he knows about Kareem and Barry, did he arrange it? I don't know. There are just a lot of things that don't add up. I mean, did the Rakadushi kill Barry and then Hunter was the one that had the body put in the... I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't. But we go over to Sam and Max, and they're on their way to save the package, Jason. And since it's a bit of a long ride, Sam fills Max in on the whole situation about Jason being alive, him being the one to move the body, and it's basically going to be the two of them versus Kyle and everyone else. Max just says one thing, or makes one request. Sam's like, what's that? Leave Kyle to me. Hell yeah, man. I've been waiting for you to say that. I've been waiting for you to say that, Sam. I knew you wouldn't let me down, Sam. I knew you wouldn't let me down. Hey, what do we got in here? And basically, it's like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory in the backseat with all the guns and ammunition they have, but we don't get to see it. All right, so they're on the way to the cabin. So, Grip actually arrives on the scene and tells Kyle that he's about 99% sure that David and Jason are inside of the cabin. He's been out watching for like 12 hours. So it seems that after he and David both escaped from the car at the bottom of the Potomac, Grip has been not Grip. I'm sorry, Kane. Kane has been keeping tabs on him. So Kyle's plan is to smoke him out, and Jason, Okay, from David's perspective, yeah, you wouldn't believe Jason, but we know Jason knows the inside and outside of the White House, his dad's protocols and whatnot. So he knows the strike team is 12 men instead of 8. And you could argue that if they had escaped when Jason said so, there may have been a better chance for them to both get out of there alive. So they eventually throw in some smoke bombs and whatnot, bottles that have paper with, fire on the inside. Because remember, they're trying to smoke them out. And David asks if he knows how to use or drive a dirt bike. So basically, Jason seems to be the one driving with David on the back. Honestly, I thought they both had dirt bikes. But in any case, Kyle and Kane, they get a lot of good shots off. And the person who's riding in the back of the bike fell off. And I think it was David. So it looks like Jason was the one that got away. So by the time Max and Sam gets there, nobody's there. The cabin's just on fire. They see some bike tracks, and then they try to figure out what their next move is. So they just decide to get out of there. But this part of the episode had me mad because I'm like, come on, we didn't get any follow-up on this. So Sam gets a message. It sounded like a couple of messages. And he has just this look on his face like he can't believe what's going on. And Max tries to, figure out like, Sam, are you okay? Hey, look at me, Sam, what's going on? Sam just says, yeah, everything's fine. So I'm thinking, were these alerts about Nancy? Barry? A contact letting him know that Priscilla arrived at the hotel to have that date with Bobby? I don't know. We got to wait until next season, and that's really disappointing. Okay. And then this is it, the last scene. Victoria is informed by one of the agents that somebody is, or actually the second lady is there to see her. This is late at night. Victoria had to get out of bed. Simone comes in that all black man. But I gotta admit, the thing I didn't like was how naive she was. And I'm like, come on, Simone. You should know better than this. So I'm not doing an entire play-by-play. This conversation just went on for too long when, like I said, there were other scenes I wish we would have gotten. So Simone thinks Victoria is the one who's sending other women after Eli, but she doesn't suspect Victoria is the one who's, banging her husband. She apparently knows Victoria has sent young girls to take down senators and congressmen and whatnot, but again, Simone just got it wrong. She's like pleading with Victoria to stop messing with her husband because you lost your son, your husband doesn't want you, your daughter is who knows where, and you want to mess up my marriage. But then Victoria just says, hey, I'm the whore. Simone, again, you're trying to manipulate me. But then Victoria drops a lot of key details about Eli's sexual prowess and, certain things about his package and things about Simone, like a certain odor, miscarriage. The first time that Eli and her had sex was when Simone was 6 months pregnant, and just a list of facts. And Simone, man, she just goes in, and Simone is tearing that ass up. Victoria gets some blows in. She, don't get me wrong, she does, because it gets to the point where Simone is down and she's like kicking her and stuff. Okay, advantage here. I think Victoria had like slippers on. You had Simone in full black gear, boots on and everything, so you could argue that her strikes are harder, but she was knocking Victoria around, throwing around like a rag doll. And like I said, Victoria did get some hits in, and I'm thinking, Lord, is she going to like smash her head in or something? Like when Simone was down, but Simone eventually gets the upper hand, and then they're just flailing around. And I predicted this. Over the balcony they go. First it was Victoria. I didn't think Simone was going to fall, but she didn't grip that bar hard enough, or she didn't pull herself up, and she fell too, and we heard a crash, and that's the end of the episode. So one or both of them could be dead, but I'm more inclined to believe Simone, even though she fell second. I don't know. All right, well, that's all I got. That's the finale. Like I said, it wasn't amazing. It was a bit disappointing, I will say that. So will Sisters tonight do better? Well, we'll find out soon enough. But thanks so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next one.